Hey guys, Kiba here, and here today we're going to be doing my Crystal Beast deck profile. I hope you guys like it. It's not completely competitive, but I do like playing it, and it's fun. Like you gotta play Crystal Beast, fun. I mean, come on, it's GX format. I mean, shit, come on, it's Crystal Beasts. So let's get right into it. Kicking off with 3 copies of my Crystal Beast Pegasus. And Crystal Beast Pegasus' effect, and by the way, I'm going to disclose that all Crystal Beast monsters have the exact same bottom effect, is that when they're destroyed, you can set them in the spell and trap zone as continuous spell cards. And his main effect is one of the most important Crystal Beasts out of the whole deck, is that when he's summoned, you can place a Crystal Beast from your hand, or deck, or graveyard into a face-up spell and trap zone as a continuous spell. So that's perfect. And 3 is the key to play. Next up, 2 copies of Crystal Beast Amber Mammoth, because Amber Mammoth, and you can make the attack target become him, which is really not that useful except for old school decks, but you know, it works, and you need 2 of them to complete to summon Rainbow Dragon or Over Dragon. Next up, 2 copies of Topaz Tiger. When he attacks, he gains additional 400 attack, and you use them again for extending your plays, which is perfectly fine with me. I like playing 2. It's a decent ratio. Next up, I run 2 copies of Crystal Beast Cobalt Eagle. Cobalt Eagle, you take Crystal Beast and put him on top of your deck. But you don't have to do that. You just use his Spell and Trap Zone effect. Next up, 1 copy of Amethyst Cat. I've debated on running 2, but it just feels like a dead weight. Plus, you rarely see her anyway, so I'm like, 1 copy, it's alright. Next up, I play 2 copies of Crystal Beast Emerald Tortoise. Again, for putting him in the Spell and Trap Zone, you really don't need him to be as his main monster effect, but it's good to have, you know. Next up, 2 copies of Crystal Beast Ruby Carbuncle. I've debated on running 3 of this card, but the consistency issues lie with this card. I prefer to play 2. And basically what she does is that when it's special summoned from when it's special summoned, you can special summon as many Crystal Beast monsters as possible from your Spell and Trap Zone, which is excellent. You need that. Next up, I play 2 of each Pendulum monster. I play 2 copies of Crystal Keeper and 2 copies of Crystal Master. Now, the pendulum effect for Crystal Keeper is that each time a ultimate crystal monster or crystal beast monster or card you control will be destroyed by a card effect, it is not. And Crystal Master's pendulum effect is that your opponent cannot target ultimate crystal monsters or crystal beast cards you control with card effects. And Crystal Keeper's effect or monster effect is that when your Crystal Beast battles an opponent's monster, you can tribute it from your hand or side of the field to double your Crystal Beast monster's attack, which is excellent, and it also destroys them during the end of the damage step, which enables you to extend your plays, and in case you have Ancient City Rainbow Ruins, it also extends your plays. And then Crystal Master's monster effect allows you to add a ultimate crystal, or tribute it to add an ultimate crystal monster, crystal beast, or crystal spell trap from your deck to your hand, which is fantastic. Now, finally, for the monsters, I've run 1 Rainbow Dragon, or as I lovingly like to call it, Skittles Shenron. My friends like, when I play him with this card, it's like, oh, I summoned Skittles Shenron. It's fun. Next up, for the spells and traps, I run my favorite spell and trap of the deck. Spells of the deck, Ancient City Rainbow Ruins. And Rainbow Ruins gains the following effects based on how many Crystal Beasts you have in the spell and trap zone. For 1, it cannot be destroyed by card effects. For 2, it allows you to have the battle damage you take. 3, when a spell and trap is activated, you can send a Crystal Beast monster you control to the graveyard to negate it. And 4 allows you to draw a card once per turn. And 5 allows you to special summon a Crystal Beast from the spell trap zone, which is freaking amazing. I love this card so much, because it always comes in handy when I need it to. Next up, 3 copies of another card I fell in love with is Crystal Blessing, and it helps extend your plays. So, for example, if you have a couple Crystal Beasts in the graveyard, activate Blessing. It allows you to add them back to your field and your spell trap zone, which is fantastic. And you can also extend using Crystal Promise or your Rainbow Ruins, which is amazing. I love it. So you should run 3, definitely. Alright, next up I'll play 2 copies of Crystal Beacon. Crystal Beacon allows you to special summon a Crystal Beast from your deck. However, you have to have 2 or more face-up Crystal Beasts in your as a continuous spell card in order to do this. Which is fine, you will. Trust me, you will. Next up I'll play 2 copies of Crystal Promise, because Crystal Promise allows you to select a Crystal Beast monster in your spell trap zone and special summon it. So basically you can extend it by bringing back up Pegasus or any monster you need as utility. And you can make Xyz monsters, and yes, I do run Xyz monsters, by the way, and it also extends out basically a line of defense. And it also helps Rainbow Ruins to negate stuff. Next up, I play 2 copies of a very essential crystal card, which is Crystal Tree. And Crystal Tree's effect is that each time a Crystal Beast is placed in either player's spell and trap zone, place a crystal counter on it. And you can send this card to the graveyard, take a number of Crystal Beast monsters from your deck equal to the number of crystal counters that were on this card and place them in your spell and trap zone. It helps extend your plays like crazy, especially when you, say for example, you have it on the field, and you have Pegasus on the field, and then you use Pegasus' effect to place one in the spell and trap zone, and then use Crystal Tree's effect to gain a counter. And then you can, if you have Rainbow Ruins on the field or Crystal Blessing, you activate that, you place them in the spell and trap zone. You get like a bunch of counter on this card, and then you can just basically say, hey, guess what, remove, set my entire back row full of Crystal Beasts, which has come in handy, like for special summoning and etc., which is amazing. Next up, I play 1 field nuke, Crystal Abundance. And Crystal Abundance's ability is that it allows you to send 4 Crystal Beast monsters from your spell trap zone to the graveyard, and send as many cards on the field as possible to the graveyard. Then special summon as many Crystal Beast monsters from your graveyard up to the number of cards your opponent sent to the graveyard by this card's effect. So it's basically like, hey, guess what? Not only do I neg you a bunch, but I'm going to summon a bunch load of monsters I can use for Xyz summons or extending out, just punching you in the face as hard as possible. And nobody sees this card coming, so it's like epic. It also helps extend into Ancient City Rainbow Ruins in case you want to negate stuff. Next up, I play 1 copy of Rare Value. Rare Value's effect is that your opponent could, if you control 2 or more Crystal Beasts in the spell and trap zone, your opponent selects one of them from your spell and trap zone to send to the graveyard, and if you do, you draw 2 cards. I've been delving debating whether or not I should play 2 or more, and I play just 1 just because. Next up, I play 1 copy of Rainbow Bridge, because mainly the deck itself does literally everything this card does, but a lot more conveniently. And I'm debating on running more. And by the way, I don't run Crystal Bonds because I have 1 card that does that constantly, so it's like, eh. Next up, I'll play 2 copies of Twin Twisters, because you will need to cycle back row, and also send stuff to the graveyard, so you can extend out into Rainbow Dragon. Next up, I'll play 1 Monster Reborn, because you will need to Monster Reborn your stuff back, which is very useful. And look how beautiful that is, like, oh my god. Next up, I play 1 Raigeki for monster removal. Basically, destroy all monsters your opponent controls. Finally, hang on, oh shit. Hang on, I'll be right back. And we're back. Sorry about that. I had to find my other card. Sorry. Next up, I play 2 copies of Ultimate Crystal Magic, because it allows you to fusion summon into your Over Dragon. And if your monster is sent to the graveyard via another opponent's card effect, which most of the time it won't be, but, you know, it's always good to have it. Basically, send 7 with different names from your hand, field, and or deck to the grave to summon Over Dragon. And he's basically a walking field nuke, which I'll get into right away. And finally, 1 copy of Crystal Conclave. And Crystal Conclave's effect is that once per turn, when a Crystal Beast monster control is sent destroyed and sent to the destroyed by a card effect or battle, you can special summon a Crystal Beast monster from your deck. Hang on, come on, focus. It basically allows you to special summon a Crystal Beast monster from your deck, and then you can send this face-up card from your field to the graveyard and target one Crystal Beast monster you control, or card you control, and one card in the field and return them to the hand. However, you can't activate them in sequence. But that's fine, though, because you want to know what makes this card so useful? Is the fact that you can keep recycling your Pegasus. Like, for example, you summon Pegasus off of this effect, Pegasus effect, set a Crystal Beast monster in the spell and trap zone. Then you can just say, hey, guess what? Conclave, bounce, bounce. Which is amazing. I should run more than one copy, but this is the only one I could find at the moment, so bear with me here. And that's it for the main deck. Let's kick into the extra deck. Starting off with, of course, the big Skittle Shenron himself, Rainbow Overdragon. And by the way, these treated Rainbow Dragon and Rainbow Overdragon are treated as Ultimate Crystal cards. So thank God they changed that to where they're Ultimate Crystal monsters, because the other card effects would not work at all if they were like that. So anyway, when this must be either fusion summoned or special summoned by tributing a level 10 Ultimate Crystal monster, in which case you don't use Poly, and once per turn you can banish a Crystal Beast monster from your graveyard. This card gains attack equal to that banished monster's until the end of the turn. However, its main effect is its bottom effect, and it's that you can quick effect tribute it to shuffle all cards on the field back into the deck. This card is fantastic because it not only prevents your opponent, also stops your opponent entirely, but also saves you the time and effort, and also recycles your important stuff. So, for example, if I were to have Crystal Beast that I don't like on the field, or if I have stuff that can't be knock over your opponent, just summon Overdragon, wait for them to summon all their important stuff, and just go yoink, just get rid of all their stuff, which is perfect. And I should play two, but I play one at the moment, just because. Next up, I play one copy of Tornado Dragon, because it's a level 4, it's a rank 4, and you need rank 4s, and you play a lot of level 4s in the deck. And he basically just detaches to pop a target spell or trap on the field, which is perfect. And it's a quick effect too, so it's like boom. Next up, I play one copy of Silent Honor Arc. Detach an Exceed material and target one special summon monster you control or opponent controls in attack position, and attach it to this card. And you can detach an Exceed material to prevent destruction, which is perfect. Next up, a copy of Castel, the Sky Blaster Musketeer. You detach to send. Basically, what you're gonna do is you're gonna detach to bounce your opponent's monster back into the deck, but you will be doing a lot, and you need this card. So, and finally, a copy of Abyss Dweller, because Abyss Dweller locks your opponent out of their graveyard, which is amazing, and I do recommend you do that. And I just love, by the way, I'm going to give a huge shout out to my friend, Mako Abyss. His channel link will be down in the description down below. And I know that this isn't a great Crystal Beast deck, but it's mine. I love to play it because there's a bunch of combos and stuff that people don't see coming. And it has so much recursion. It's just a fun deck to play. I just love it for what it is, you know? Like, it's one of the decks that needed upgrades, but when it does, it's such a great archetype, even for its time. Like, who would think that, you know, out of every archetype, especially from the GX era, that this would get printed? Like, it's such a fun deck to play, and I respect it so much for being the way it is. Like, and I love playing it against my friends because it's such a great build to play. But anyway, I've been Kiba, and thank you guys for watching, and tune in for the next video. And I do hope you guys like this deck profile, and if you do, give me a like, comment, and subscribe. I've been Kiba, and peace, guys.